My girlfriend told me I didn't fit her aesthetic and couldn't bring me around her influencer friends anymore. After 2 weeks of being hidden like a dirty secret, she showed up at my apartment crying her friends had sent her a photo of me on a date with someone new. What she didn't know was that I'd planned the whole thing, and her someone new was actually her biggest rival. Hey viewers, welcome to the channel. We are just starting and your support means a lot. If you enjoy these stories, please consider subscribing and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. My name is Nathan. I'm 26, and until recently, I thought I was in love with someone who turned out to be everything wrong with social media culture wrapped up in a pretty package. Her name was Qley Martinez, 24, and she was what you'd call a lifestyle influencer. Not huge, but she had about 50,000 followers on Instagram and was always chasing that next brand deal or collaboration. When we first started dating 8 months ago, I thought her ambition was attractive. She was driven, creative, and seemed to have this whole world figured out that I barely understood. I work in software development, nothing glamorous, but I make decent money and I'm good at what I do. I'm not what you'd call conventionally handsome. I'm average height, a little soft around the edges, and I wear glasses. I dress well enough, but I'm not the type of guy who'd ever be mistaken for a model. I knew this going into the relationship, and it never seemed to matter to Qley, at least not at first. The problem started about 3 months ago when Qley's follower count began to really take off. She started getting invited to more exclusive events, connecting with bigger influencers, and landing partnerships with legitimate brands. Success was changing her, and not in a good way. It began with small comments. She'd suggest I wear different clothes when we went out, or ask if I'd considered going to the gym more often. When I'd post a photo of us together, she'd ask me to delete it, saying the lighting was bad or the angle was unflattering. I started to notice that she never posted about me anymore, even though her feed was filled with carefully curated moments from every other aspect of her life. The first major red flag came when she uninvited me from her friend Jessica's birthday party. Jessica Chen, 25, was another influencer in Qley's circle, someone with about 70,000 followers who always seemed to be competing with Qley for the same brand deals. Qley had been excited about the party for weeks, buying a new outfit and planning her content around it. "I'm really sorry, babe," she said the night before the party, not meeting my eyes. But Jessica said it's going to be a smaller thing than planned, and she can't accommodate +1s anymore. I found out later through mutual friends that it wasn't smaller at all. In fact, half the people there had brought dates. Qley had simply decided I didn't fit the aesthetic of her social media presence anymore. Things got worse from there. She started making excuses for why I couldn't come to events, why we couldn't go to certain restaurants, why we couldn't be seen together in parts of the city where she might run into other influencers. She'd schedule our dates around her content creation, and I'd find myself sitting in her apartment for hours while she took the perfect selfie or recorded TikTok videos. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening. I had planned a nice dinner for us at this new restaurant downtown, somewhere I'd been saving up to take her. She showed up late, distracted by her phone, and barely touched her food while she scrolled through Instagram stories. "Nathan," she said suddenly, still not looking up from her phone, "we need to talk." I knew from her tone that whatever was coming next wasn't going to be good. "I've been thinking about my brand lately and where I want to take my career," she continued, finally putting her phone down. "I'm at a really crucial point right now, and I need to be strategic about how I present myself." "Okay," I said, though I was already dreading where this was going. "The thing is, my friends have been telling me that I need to be more consistent with my image. Like, everything I post needs to fit together cohesively. And honestly, when we're together in public, or when people see us together, it doesn't really match the vibe I'm trying to create." I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. "Are you saying I don't fit your aesthetic?" "It's not personal," she said quickly. "You're great and I care about you, but right now I need to focus on building my following. Maybe we could keep things more private for a while, like still see each other but not go to events together or post about each other." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She wanted to keep me as her secret boyfriend, hidden away like something she was ashamed of, all for the sake of her Instagram feed. "So I'm good enough to date but not good enough to be seen with?" I asked. "That's not what I'm saying," she protested, but we both knew that's exactly what she was saying. I should have ended it right there. I should have walked out of that restaurant and never looked back. But I was hurt and confused, and some part of me still believed that this was just a phase, that once she got more secure in her career, things would go back to normal. So I agreed to her terms. For 2 weeks, I lived like a secret. She'd come over to my apartment, but I couldn't go to hers because her roommate Madison Riley, 23, was also an influencer, and they created content together. We'd have dinner dates, but only at places where she was unlikely to run into anyone from her social media world. She'd text me constantly when we were apart, sending me sweet messages and photos, but the moment we were in public, she'd act like she barely knew me. The worst part was seeing her social media during this time. She was posting more than ever, showing off her perfect life, her perfect friends, her perfect everything. Meanwhile, I was being erased from her story completely. When people would ask her about her dating life in the comments, she'd respond with vague answers about focusing on herself and her career. I started to realize that this wasn't temporary. This was who Qley really was, someone who valued her image more than the people in her life. Someone who saw me as an accessory that either fit her brand or didn't, rather than as a person she cared about. That's when I decided to do something about it. I knew about her rivalry with Jessica Chen. They'd been competing for the same brand deals, copying each other's content, and passive-aggressively trying to one-up each other for months. Qley would spend hours analyzing Jessica's posts, trying to figure out how to do them better. She was obsessed with staying ahead of her, and Jessica seemed equally invested in the competition. So I reached out to Jessica. I found her through mutual friends and explained the situation. I told her how Qley had been treating me, how she'd been hiding me because I didn't fit her aesthetic, and how she'd been talking about Jessica behind her back. Jessica was sympathetic, but more importantly, she was interested in helping me teach Qley a lesson. "I've been dealing with her competitive nonsense for months," Jessica told me over coffee. "She's always trying to copy what I do, and then she acts like she came up with it first. Honestly, I'd love to help you show her what it feels like to be on the other side of this." We came up with a plan. Jessica would help me create the perfect revenge scenario, something that would hit Qley where it hurt most, her image and her ego. The plan was simple but effective. Jessica and I would go on a very public, very photogenic fake date. We'd go to all the places Qley liked to go, the trendy restaurants and aesthetic cafes that she frequented for content. Jessica would post about it on her social media, making it look like we were dating, and we'd make sure that Qley's friends would see it. Jessica was beautiful, successful, and everything that Qley aspired to be. She had more followers, better brand deals, and a more polished image. If Qley was going to judge people based on their social media value, then Jessica was an upgrade in every way that mattered to her. We executed the plan on a Saturday afternoon. Jessica and I went to brunch at this trendy spot downtown that Qley had been wanting to try for months, but couldn't get a reservation. Jessica had connections and got us a perfect table by the window. We took photos, laughed, and genuinely had a good time while making sure everything looked picture perfect for social media. Jessica posted a series of Instagram stories throughout the day, showing our date in real time. She posted photos of our food, selfies of us together, and even a video of us walking through the city holding hands. Anyone following along, it looked like we were having the most romantic, aesthetic day ever. I knew it was working when my phone started buzzing with notifications. Qley's friends were seeing the posts, and I could tell from their activity that word was getting back to her. Jessica's followers were commenting and asking questions, and the whole thing was generating exactly the kind of buzz that Qley was always chasing. But the real confirmation came that evening. I was back at my apartment, feeling a mix of satisfaction and nervousness about what I'd done, when I heard someone pounding on my door. I knew it was Qley before I even looked through the peephole. When I opened the door, she was standing there with tears streaming down her face, her carefully applied makeup completely ruined. She was holding her phone, and I could see Jessica's Instagram story still playing on her screen. "How could you do this to me?" she sobbed, pushing past me into my apartment. "How could you move on so fast?" And with her, of all people. I almost felt bad seeing her so upset, but then I remembered how she'd made me feel for the past 2 weeks, how she'd hidden me away like I was something to be ashamed of, how she'd valued her image more than my feelings. "I don't know what you mean," I said calmly. "I thought we were keeping things private, remember? I thought you didn't want to be seen with me because I didn't fit your aesthetic." That's different," she stammered. "I never said we were broken up. I thought we were just taking a break from the public stuff." You mean you thought I'd sit quietly in the shadows while you pretended I didn't exist? I asked. You thought I'd be okay with being your secret shame. She was crying harder now, and I could see her scrolling through Jessica's posts again and again. But why Jessica? You know how I feel about her. You know we're competing for the same deals. Maybe that's exactly why, I said. Maybe I wanted to be with someone who wasn't ashamed to be seen with me. Someone who thought I was worth posting about. But I do think you're worth it, she cried. I was just trying to build my career. I was going to bring you back into my content once I got more established. When, Qley? When you hit 100,000 followers? 1,000,000? When would I have been good enough for your brand? She didn't have an answer to that, and we both knew it. The truth was, there would never have been a right time. I would never have been aesthetic enough, successful enough, or Instagram-worthy enough for her. She would have kept me as her secret boyfriend indefinitely, someone she could have emotional support from without having to compromise her image. Over the next few days, the situation escalated in ways I hadn't expected. Qley's friends started reaching out to me, some angry, some confused, all wanting to know what had happened. The story spread through their social media circle like wildfire, and suddenly everyone was talking about Qley's secret boyfriend and how she'd been hiding me. Jessica, meanwhile, was having the time of her life with the attention our fake relationship was generating. She was getting new followers, brand inquiries, and engagement rates that were higher than ever. She kept the charade going for a few more days, posting subtle hints about our relationship and letting people speculate. But the real satisfaction came when I saw how the whole situation was affecting Qley's brand. Her followers started asking questions about why she'd been hiding me, and her engagement rates dropped as people began to see her differently. Some of her brand partners started distancing themselves, not wanting to be associated with someone who was being called out for being shallow and image-obsessed. The influencer world is smaller than people think, and word travels fast. Other content creators started talking about Qley's treatment of me, and it became a cautionary tale about what happens when you prioritize image over authenticity. Her reputation took a hit that she's still trying to recover from. After about a week of maintaining the fake relationship, Jessica and I decided to come clean about what we'd done. We posted a joint statement explaining that we'd staged the whole thing to teach Qley a lesson about how it felt to be hidden away and then replaced. We made it clear that we weren't actually dating, but that we'd become genuine friends through the experience. The response was mixed. Some people thought we'd gone too far, that we'd been cruel and manipulative. Others applauded us for calling out Qley's behavior and showing her what it felt like to be on the receiving end of that kind of treatment. The whole thing sparked conversations about authenticity in social media and the pressure to maintain a perfect image. Qley tried to control the narrative, posting long captions about how she'd been trying to protect our relationship from public scrutiny and how she'd never meant to hurt me. But the damage was done. People could see through her explanations, and her attempts to paint herself as the victim only made things worse. I never got back together with Qley. After everything that happened, I realized that we wanted fundamentally different things from life. She wanted a relationship that looked perfect on social media, while I wanted one that actually was perfect in real life. Those two things don't always align. Jessica and I did become genuine friends after our fake relationship ended. She helped me understand the pressures of social media culture, and I helped her see the importance of authenticity over image. She's actually toned down her online presence since then, focusing more on creating content that reflects who she really is rather than who she thinks she should be. As for Qley, she's still trying to rebuild her brand and her reputation. She's been more careful about her relationship since then, though I heard through mutual friends that she's still struggling with the same issues of valuing image over substance. I hope she learns from what happened, but I'm not holding my breath. Looking back, I don't regret what I did. Was it petty? Maybe. Was it calculated? Absolutely. But sometimes people need to experience their own behavior reflected back at them before they can understand how harmful it is. Qley spent weeks making me feel like I wasn't good enough to be seen with her, and I gave her a taste of what it felt like to be the one who wasn't good enough. The whole experience taught me a lot about my own worth and what I want in a relationship. I learned that I deserve someone who's proud to be with me, someone who doesn't see me as a liability to their image. I learned that authenticity is more valuable than any number of followers or brand deals. I'm dating someone new now, someone who works in marketing and understands social media, but doesn't let it control her life. She posts photos of us together, introduces me to her friends, and treats me like someone she's proud to be with. It's amazing how different a relationship can feel when both people are actually present in it. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd just broken up with Qley that night at the restaurant instead of agreeing to be her secret. Maybe I would have saved myself the heartache and the drama. But then again, maybe she needed to learn this lesson, and maybe I needed to learn that I'm worth more than being someone's hidden shame. The truth is, I'm glad it happened the way it did. Qley got a reality check about what really matters in relationships, and I got the satisfaction of showing her exactly how it felt to be treated the way she'd been treating me. Sometimes the best revenge is simply giving someone a taste of their own medicine.